Okay, so what I got pulled up right now, all right, y'all, let's pay attention. 1988 already. All right, so what I got pulled up right now is our national calendar. One of the things we went over during this summer in order to help us move forward and be more, have things out in front. Kind of like you get a calendar for school and stuff, you know, all the different snow dates and everything we use in elementary and stuff. We want to help you guys know what's going on throughout the calendar year on a national level. So, as you guys should be aware of, you probably got a Facebook blast about it, got an email about it. Got the fantasy football signed up. If you guys like fantasy football, it's really competitive, and y'all can sign up and compete against brothers across the nation. The actual draft is on the 28th. So we scroll down. At the beginning or the end of this fraternal year and the beginning of the next one, highlighting with the prostate health month. Also, one of the things we're going to be starting to help you guys be more engaged with the alumni and us to be able to help disciple you guys a little bit better is coming up with topics to talk about online and through video on a weekly basis. So we can interact and y'all can talk and ask us questions. We can ask you guys questions. Facebook, Twitter, whatever the case may be. Another thing that we're doing that you guys can have a pivotal role in, I know some chapters have been doing this, but we want to do this nationwide, is on Thursdays, wear some type of UniPhied paraphernalia. You got a pen, wear your tie, wear your leather shirts. If a chapter wants to put together some leather shirts, y'all got a month. Y'all can raise some funds, get $300-400, get some shirts made for your chapter, like Texas Gamblers or something like that, or Texas State Gamblers, or yeah. So Thursday Gamble Day. Thursday Gamble Day, and so this stuff is available on our members-only website. We got this calendar up, so. We want y'all to be in that members-only stuff, member-only website. A lot of communication happens through that. We try and reiterate it on Gamma Connect Facebook, but a lot of important information goes on through that website. So, as we talked about this morning, membership dues, they're on here as well. That's the month of September. October, same thing. Got those things coming up. When we learn of the regional retreats, we'll pop them on there as well. One thing that Case didn't mention, but we as a National Executive Committee, along with several of the visionaries, we're going to have a retreat in the middle of October to hash out some few things, to talk about stuff, to help us see how they can help pour into you guys, but also to see how they can help the organization ramp up for the long haul. So some of the topics that we kind of talked about financially, but also on some other levels as well. This initiative is being led by Brother Mike Satterfield, Visionary Satterfield. And I want to share this, I know Case isn't here, but since I've been in, Robert's been in, some of the older guys have been in, for initiatives like this, typically they've been led by Case. But another visionary is leading this charge. That speaks volumes to what you guys are doing as an organization, as members of it, in carrying out the mission and fulfilling the vision. They want to be a part of that and help you guys succeed in doing that for the long haul. Okay. Moving forward, going into November, yeah, Project 21. Who knows about Project 21? So one of the new guys. What's Project 21? Go ahead. Stand up quick. Go.
Project 21, from my knowledge, is just make awareness to young men or your campus or your community about prostate cancer.
That's a partial answer.
Can I have
Help me out.
Alright, Project 21 is, project we basically focus on like physical health, mental health, and spiritual health, being healthy as far as the body, mind, and spirit. Took away from it. And so basically getting together with some of your brothers going to work out, sit down, talk about things like that, holding each other accountable and things like that. I mean, I know.
What's the concept behind 21? Why did we say 21?
21 days.
And why 21 days?
Because in order to make something a habit, you have to do it 21 days.
It's the general principle.
General principle, absolutely.
Hey, good job. Good job, guys.
So the point of the Project 21 is not just for that period, but that after that, you will continue to do it. Make it a habit.
Correct. So, Brother Tony Brunson, our programming director, he's going to be over this, and he'll be rolling out some details. We're kind of, for the guys that have been in for a little bit, we're going to try a tweak to the approach of it, but it's still going to be Project 21. For you graduating seniors this coming fall, one thing we have implemented this fraternal year is exit interviews. And we want to get your feedback, regardless of how long you've been a part of the organization, on your experience in G5D during your time on campus. And then also, we want to get your feedback on how we can help the organization grow in the future. And then also get a feel on how you want to participate and help that come to fruition. So those will be due December 1st, and your regional directors will be in contact with you about those. And that's December. Move on to January, same thing. Same thing's going on. If some other stuff pops up, we'll put it on there. And you guys, when you go onto the members only website, if you use Google, you should be able to download all this stuff. So if you use Google on your phone to keep up with your classes or keep up with important dates, there's no excuse for you not knowing about this. Yes, sir.
Is there some kind of way that those be notified?
And it should automatically update. Okay, March, membership dues, March 15th. This is a tentative day for a board of directors meeting. And obviously, this is an important day in the life of the organization. So you're aware of that, and you can schedule things around that with your campuses. Okay. Same deal, exit interviews. Another thing, one thing that's not on there at this moment, and Brother Tony Brunson is coordinating that as well on a monthly basis, and we did this during National Day of Prayer this year, but on a monthly basis, having a day where we can pray together as a fraternity, whether it be through a Zoom or through a conference call, and outlining. He's going to be organizing that. Yes, sir. You have a question? Are you? So, beyond that, then we have another meeting tentatively scheduled. Continuing on, June, nothing scheduled. But August, in the June, July, beginning of August, we've got the UCCFS conference. Our fraternity is affiliated with the UCCFS. We are autonomous to them. We help to influence and to lead and direct what goes on with the council, and help sharpen other organizations that are associated with the council. These are the dates for that event. It's highly encouraged for leaders to be at this event. You get to meet other leaders from fellow UCCFF organizations at this event. This year is going to be in Texas. The location is still up for debate. It's kind of between San Antonio and Houston. Not Houston, San Antonio and Dallas. Yeah, but just to let y'all know, I'm pulling for Dallas. So.
I'm gonna upset too.
Yeah.
So San Antonio, man, y'all want to come see all my rings?
See all your rings. We had to fish about that dirty clover. Hey, you know Dallas got some rings too. We had 6. We had Super Bowl rings. No, we actually got 7 because you count stars.
Yeah.
That's right. We should have had 8 if the Rangers had played right. 2010 and 11.
Jesus was still healing people when
That was
So what's your point? I thought he was walking.
So
still walking in that? So what's your point? He walks in me, so what's your point? What's your point?
Y'all learned the lesson right there.
So yeah, be on the lookout. We're gonna get you guys promotional material. I will let you guys know up front how the cost structure for this conference is set up. They typically set up hotel payment within the conference fees. So rather than paying $100, $200 to be at the conference, you typically pay $350 to $400. But it includes your rooming, your board, conference fees, meals, things like that. Yes, sir. Yes, they typically have that option as well. The question, to repeat the question that Brother Josh mentioned regarding UCCFS, do they have fee options for those who want to stay somewhere else other than the conference hotel? And the answer to that is yes. So be on the lookout for that. Then you notice that little purple thing there. So next year, ALO is turning 25 years old as an organization. Give them props. From our communications with their national board, they are planning to have their conference the same time as the UCCFS conference. And on that Saturday, August the 1st, they're planning to have a anniversary ball to celebrate their 25th year of existence. It's going to be pretty extravagant. One of the things that they want to do, and Case is not here, so he don't know yet, is invite all of our visionaries personally to come out, because our visionaries were instrumental in helping them get established as an organization. And y'all can talk to Case offline about that, and he'll give a whole spiel about it. So they're indebted to us as an organization. So we're going to try to make accommodations, particularly on the leadership team, to be at that ball that evening. So
Do we know where they're going to be?
it's going to be in Austin. So with us being at the UCCFS conference, we're going to have to travel down there that afternoon. But we can make it. We'll be fine. Yeah. So. And in the planning for the UCCFS conference, I'll make mention of that. I got to get more details from ALO on their scheduling and stuff.
San Antonio is only 30 hours.
That's what I'm saying. If you go to San Antonio, it'll be right
I don't know, you're saying it's still pending, but I know my brother went to the Zeta conference, which was last weekend.
Right.
And he told me that they were telling them to go ahead and let the news out in San Antonio, so I did that. But I don't know, maybe they didn't get what
Oh,
you
really? This ain't, okay, thank you for letting me know that.
That's new information. I mean,
Like I,
because last we heard, they were still debating.
right, they're still debating. We will send official communications on where it's at when we confirm it. But y'all make preparations to be there. It's an amazing experience. You get some incredible training. You get to meet some new people that you can communicate across the nation as it relates to Christian fraternities and sororities. Okay. Are there any questions regarding the national calendar? Yes, sir.
Are we all in a personal?
You talking about a printed one?
No, it's on.
Oh, I'm sorry. Help us for that. AJ and then,
So to find this calendar, how would you go about it?
to find this calendar, we will do that. We will do that. Oh, what did I do?
Oh, you got
Alright. So, give me a second. Let me log into mine.
How many brothers are on the members page already? Okay, so if I add, we need to jump on the page.
I think if everybody's here, everybody here is on the membership page.
I mean, have you accessed it?
Alright, so, so I'm logging into my account. Alright, so, members only, so we can walk through this as well. Alright, so you get the members only page, scroll down, get some information, that'll be updated. Yeah, upcoming events. So, fantasy football conference, membership renewal, Tri-State Health Month. Yeah, also got job listings, so we're gonna be updating that as well as we hear of job listings, so y'all, for y'all graduating brothers are even looking for internships in the summer. We're gonna post them on there. This is for you guys. You guys are members, we wanna help you grow as men, grow as brothers, and this is how we do it. All right, news and information, click on it. You got different postings about different stuff like the voting stuff. We need to talk about that in a few minutes. Well, no, yeah, we got to talk about that. Conference itineraries, things like that. Membership dues, fee schedule. Calendar. Boom. The calendar we just went over. It's right here. Click on it. You click on that. You can add it to your Google calendar and have access to it. And it will also update on its own. You also have an RSS feeder right here, where you can add all these items on there as well. Leadership. Got different leaders, different names. I think they're mapped also with the email address. Organizational structure. Visionaries.
So you press that, they automatically ask you.
Yes, yes. We can do a demonstration with your account, afterwards. Okay, visionaries. Some of their contact information, the information we have is on there, and we're working to get more of that. Past presidents. Oh, these are individual pages. Where, this one? Documents page. So select the shield to access UniPhied documents and resource library. So the paperwork that we ask you to fill out throughout the semester. Just click on it. So you get all this stuff on here. Marketing documents, so corporate structure, hazing policy, interest information, regional structure, letterhead. Some of this, we're gonna have all this updated. What am I doing?
Leave it on top.
Turn off the lights. Praise Jesus.
All right, so as they're going through that stuff, you can see it. Hey, so while we're ready to get this fixed, I'll put y'all on the spot. Tell me some chapter history. Y'all's chapter. Yeah, from y'all. Tell us some chapter history of y'all chapter. Hey, first one pop up. Let me know. Come on. We'll get y'all something. He was the president. That is true. Go ahead.
Our first line was called the shore walkers. You know, the walkers.
Y'all have new go.
I can just say, we started in 2000.
That's two. Y'all ain't get.
The second shore walkers.
How does he know that?
We told him.
Wow.
Thank you very much. I tried to found it, well, it was chartered, March 11, 1994 by.
With 10 minutes, known as 10 minutes. Come on now. No, it's happening.
Thanks again.
What the hell?
Okay, all right, let me make it more challenging. Tell me some chapter history of some chapters that are not here right now.
I can do that.
That are not here right now.
I can do that.
Okay, help me brothers out.
Who's not here? Nah, I can't do that good with it. I ain't gonna lie like that. Oh, well, you know what? Delta Numbers is here. I was gonna mention his campus, but he's here.
Who know anything about either Joshua?
Zane Judges.
Calvin King.
Calvin King? Yeah.
Who knows anything about any of those chapters?
TJ was a part of the.
We all know TJ.
Is Epsilon new to round?
Yeah, I don't remember.
I heard like 20 something.
No, I wasn't doing it the best, which I was trying to find out.
Detroit chapter. Braxton. Okay. You know, 2006, I was saying. Okay.
Oh, okay. What about, I guess, instrumental points throughout the tournament?
Yes.
And I'll give y'all a hint, y'all can find this on Twitter. Y'all can find it on Twitter.
He said he gave me the hint, that's what. Like I said. Somebody leave you the-
They said that purpose was to bring the Lord. Serve the Lord all day. But God, man, is the only one.
Was it at,
What's the question?
Tell me some instrumental points.
03?
Throughout the year. Throughout the year.
Is that instrumental point, sir?
What? It was.
What?
It was an oath.
What happened?
What happened to us?
Brandon Jackson.
So, y'all found it?
Any other,
What'd you say?
in 2001, the law passed that we couldn't, play any other social concerns.
Okay.
Right, I see you, G. What else? Come on.
What happened last year?
25 years.
25 years.
So what happened?
Oh, Brother Nick Kendall took over. Oh, you want to do the say? Oh, I'm sorry. So what happened last year?
Also at that banquet, we had a lot of visionaries there. That was probably
Yeah, the biggest,
highest representation of
like
like
a visionaries in one place at the same time.
In a long time.
A long time. UCCFS represented well, they showed up. That was surprising.
So, all right, so, the point of that exercise is that our history is important, whether it be on the chapter level or on the national level. I want you guys to know it. Like I said, the stuff's, the bullet points for each year, except for this year, are on Twitter. You go to our Twitter account, we had a countdown last year of bullet points going on throughout the year, highlighting when chapters were formed, certain initiatives brought up, changes in presidents, things like that. So know that stuff. Okay, well.
I know that we have more. I know that we have more. Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
We have more followers. We're following this.
But we,
Would we be, okay, well, I'm following myself. I just want to.
Oh, that's what, okay.
Follow
people straight. Hey, yeah. Yeah, so get them straight. All right, so continuing on. Continuing on.
so we follow that, I follow.
We got all these documents on here, you got marketing documents, a statement of faith, national, like this stuff, I know it's got old dates on it, we gonna update that, so. Don't worry about that. Meeting minutes from different areas, membership documents, scheduling fee, the manual, I think this is the old folder, national initiative stuff. Some page comprising 21 prostate cancer, orientation documents, program documents, so like chapter program reports. So doing a review and planning your events, event budgeting sheet. So, if we can walk you guys through it and probably reiterate it in the regional, retreats on how to plan an event effectively. And there are step show applications, so if you want to host a step show, this is the application you can use to put together and send out the potential step team. Semester forms, in the semester forms, things like that. Award applications, they're on here as well. Yes, sir.
Can I just, because I understand a little bit of the administration when it comes to this, This is going out to the younger brothers, you brothers who are just coming in and stuff like that. This right here is so important. Y'all probably don't even realize how important this page right here is. I get on this page and have been on this page a lot, and it's helped me a lot. So like when you might be scratching your head and like, what do I do in this situation? Or does G5D have something set up for this? G5D been setting stuff up and way ahead of time. From like, there's probably, I mean, everybody has new ideas, but a lot of y'all need new ideas can be formatted off of stuff that is already here. And when y'all hear Jerry Wallace and the rest of the regional board from this area hounding y'all about different paperwork, which y'all will be hounded about, this is where it's at. So if you don't know where it's at, he's literally showing you like, boom, this is it. This is what's going to help you out throughout the semester.
We show you, we tell you if you ask. If you don't ask, then you don't know.
This is it. This is the bread and butter right here. As far as paperwork and stuff like that. You want to run a line, you want to do an event, boom, 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 boom. This is it.
Go ahead, Brother
Yes, I have a question about like marketing. If we have events on our campus, is there a way to share these events on this website to let the brothers know about what we're doing?
Yeah.
I mean, we just have on the calendar on the website, and then there's a template that's on there that talks about events. Going back to what Charles was saying, that's why we have these documents. So we don't send it out to y'all for a fiscal year start. So you get the document, you fill it out, and you send it back to the regional board. That's why we have our brother vice president, our brother secretary. You send it to them, and we disperse that information. You know what I'm saying? To various chapters, the region, the visionaries. You know what I'm saying? Because the visionaries, they're going to plug in. So like if you teach our Genesis, we have visionaries in the area that's going to come to that. You know what I'm saying? That's why we have these documents. So you can complete that, let the region know what's going on, and we disperse that for you.
It's accountability.
That's exactly what it is. So I'm glad Charles said that because he already knows that if I had, I ain't gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? I'm feeding gonna say the word, because if I come through there, I'm gonna bring the boss, I'm gonna put that monolithic on y'all.
Hey, but yeah, let's answer your question. Like, I know y'all are planning some stuff already. Soon you can fill out that paperwork and get it to these guys. They're gonna do the legwork for you and disperse it to the chapters, alumni, all kinds of stuff like that. So yes, that is there. And that's why everybody has to be connected enough to understand what's going on. Brothers feel like people ain't there. There's a protocol on doing things, and you have to follow that protocol, and the frat gonna help you out.
I need to come you like 4 times. Why did I come 4 times? I need to come you twice. If you want to go to him, because you don't want to drink out of the water. You might get 2 to 1 out of it.
Okay, on this particular page, we went into the meeting minutes and zoomed in on the house of Jeremiah. How we doing? No, I was trying to get y'all to say something. House of Jeremiah. So I'm talking to everybody.
So House of Jeremiah, who's the House of Jeremiah?
We are here.
Now, what is it right now? Anybody else here outside of the Southwest region?
Yes.
Okay, who else is here outside of the Southwest region?
That's it.
That's it. So House of Jeremiah. So when you hear your house call, you make some noise.
All right. Let's try to get.
So, the house of Jeremiah. So, each region has their chapters in this particular thing, and you can go in here for your chapter and upload your meeting minutes, your planning documents, things like that, so we can keep track of that information. So when you pass the torch to younger brothers that will come in the future, they have a way they can see what happened within your chapter and either carry that torch or make improvements or not use it. It's important. It, like you got, Brother Charles pointed out, you guys have ideas and stuff, and it helps if you get a reference point on stuff that's been done in the past. So you're not recreating stuff and spinning your wheels, and you can put that energy
towards making the event you want to do that much better.
How does Secret Joe get up there on that board?
Talk to that brother behind you. He's on. All right, so back to this. Scrolling down, we went over that, the fee schedule, from that, yeah, links, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. Let me stop at LinkedIn for a second. Who's familiar with LinkedIn? Show of hands. Okay. Who has a LinkedIn profile? Raise your hand. Who is a member of the G5D Business Network? Interesting. All right, so first thing, I encourage everybody to get a LinkedIn profile. It'll help you with internships. It'll help you when you get ready to graduate. You can put your projects on there. You can put your jobs that you've been working part-time, things like that. And it'll help you be more marketable as a person. If you need help, talk to some of us who have profiles. We can give you valuable tips. Secondly, once you get that profile, and this is also included for those who aren't on the G5D Business Network, some of y'all have probably seen some blasts from Miles about joining the network. Become a member of that network. We're going to use that to help sharpen one another, share important articles about business, about being professional, also potentially share job needs and things like that. So you're going to have multiple avenues in which you can connect with older members, younger members, and in different platforms in a variety of ways. The G5D Business Network. And also we've got a YouTube channel. And you can post videos on it. I believe Brother Stratton sent a Facebook blast on that about posting your videos on there. So we can keep that going and people can see stuff. Okay. Went over job postings. This is the specific posting spot within this thing. Gamma shop. So on here, you know how you guys like, we got the thing going on every Thursday during this semester for wearing paraphernalia. Where can you get paraphernalia if you don't have a local shop? Online. Get all sewn up. You can go to and get printing services, go to these websites, trophies. We're going to add some additional things as well. Like we said earlier, we're going to be posting pictures for the crest pin, for those keychains, for the ties, or even the history t-shirts. I know sometimes we wear a history t-shirt, get holes in them, and you want to feel a part of the organization, we can sell you one, get you back on track. We'll have all that other stuff. And then if you have a challenge with getting graphic design done or illustrations or things like that, we got plenty of brothers that can do it for you. You gotta let them know in advance. Some of them, there's a disclaimer. Some may ask you for a fee, but you can get your program flyers done and all that through them. Yes, sir.
Just another brother note. There's another website.
Hey, Stratton, can you write this down?
But the reason why I'm mentioning this is because I bought something for my wife and I wanted to buy me something. And what I actually did was I paid the digitizing fee, and it's a national website. Stuff for Greeks, S4G.
Right.
We don't already.
Yeah, so, well, the thing was that they had our old crest. So we had to pay the digitizing fee for the new crest. That's already paid for. Anything you want from there, it won't cost you no digitizing fee. So that's another place. Stuff for Greeks, stuff for the number 4.
Right.
Number 4. Stuff for Greeks. If you go there, you won't have to pay no digitizing fee. Now, they are a little bit more expensive, but their quality is really good. If you get them something with the crest on it, it's not going to fray, the strings ain't going to be hanging off of it and stuff like that.
The white jacket that I got, y'all be able to see it, that's from Silver.
Yeah.
It's expensive.
Go ahead, Brother Chris.
Also, I use this website called EliteGreeks.com.
Elite Greeks.
EliteGreeks.com. You can sign up to their mailing list and they give discounts. Like I actually got two, at one point I got 2 shirts and a hoodie for 20.
Two shirts and a hoodie?
At one time they
And a
had,
hoodie?
yes.
They run specials during the summer and stuff, they gotta get rid of inventory.
They gonna run special sometime. They also like stuff at wholesale, so as you buy more, the price goes down.
So,
One
like,
Christmas, I think one Christmas present, I bought my whole chapter hoodies. And all had hoodies.
see, y'all coordinate that stuff, get together, put your heads together, y'all wanna get something to represent your chapter, buy in bulk, save you some money, and y'all can sell the other ones later. What else? And we'll, like I said, we're gonna update this page and add those vendors and add some vendors we've got relationships with, that we built this summer, as regards paraphernalia. This is the forfeited members list. So these particular brothers, are no longer they have forfeited their membership within the organization. And this is something that's within our constitution that we are required to do. So guys are aware. So, and they may be in the system, but we've got them set up where they no longer receive communications with us. But feel free to reach out to them and find the story and connect with them. They're still brothers in Christ. They still need to be encouraged and stuff. You may have a personal relationship with them. So, just let me know. You got the contact us page. Get different contact info, and I think that's a public site too, on a public one, and national contact page. Then you got the donate page.
Amen.
Donations.
Okay, so one of the things that we talked about as an NEC as relates to orientation fees and paying them in segments, we need y'all, and this will be reiterated. We need y'all when y'all bring on new guys in this comment box to say who it's for and what it's for. Because Spencer has to do a job of mapping those monies to the right person. Go ahead, Strat.
Actually, if you all can have the person sign in, and then when you make payments, you can do it through their account.
Okay.
It'll still show your PayPal information or whoever's PayPal information, but it's easier if it's connected through their account because the invoice is already drafted under their account.
Okay.
So it's just easier, instead of having to transfer money 3 times, it's just easier to do it twice and call it good.
So when you say do it through their account, do you set them up an account while they're online?
Yep. So to prepare for application, one of the steps is to apply under the member site.
I got you.
They'll select alumni or undergraduate. There'll be an invoice that's created. They'll put in their basic information, name, address, contact number, things like that. They'll be in our system. We'll see that they have paid, and then all the rest of it is easier because we're not trying to track down.
Who sent a check or something like that? Yeah.
So if you could just have them create their account, it doesn't give them access to anything outside of just being in the system. And then it lets them know their invoice amount. So if you have people that say, you know, I'm paying $300 for this week, and then next week I'm gonna pay $350, right? And we need to see if they paid, we just pull it up. Yes, sir.
Is it possible, like PDF or something, to like be step by step for that process? I know it seems like the easy process is going to be 2 months from now, 3 months from now. Brother, you had this worked out, but somebody wants to donate, it'll work through the process.
Okay. Yeah, we can work on that.
Okay.
Yeah. If you're gonna make a donation, this is easy. This is really if you just want to do.
A general donation.
Yeah, I love UniPhied. I want to send $50. Boom. But if you have brothers that are doing orientation process and you want to make payment, just when they log in and create their account, they'll have an invoice statement that says you owe 625, 725, whatever. And then if you want to make a payment, you just go on and make a payment, but you can log in to a different PayPal account. So.
All right. All right. Okay, are there any additional questions regarding our members-only website? Do you guys have any suggestions on ways we might be able to tweak it? If you do, please refer to or talk with Brother Stratton Lee. He's been the major administrator for the site.
So my only question is just to make sure and clarify, if there are any brothers within our chapter who are currently brothers and they do not have connection to this.
They need to go in, there's a link that they can apply, it just says membership. It just says if you're a member, they have to apply. I verify that they're an actual brother, and then I set up their account so that their membership fees and everything are appropriate to when they're actually. Okay. So everyone needs to do this. A part of our accountability is being a 501c3 status, is that we have to track membership. We have
Insurance.
Right, insurance purposes too, but, so we have to have an accounting of who's a member, where they're at, if they're active, if they're not, for our own benefit. So we want everyone on here, one, because it is a point of access for all information. But two, it's an easy way for you to update your info as you navigate through life. So you graduate undergrad, you go to you go on to a master's, you get married, whatever. You can update your information as you go.
You remember the question you asked me back in March
About making a website for all the members or something?
That's that. Yeah, we, in terms of, in terms of, the membership directory, let's go through that real quick. Who thinks they're in there? Who's that in there?
So let's do, Mark.
Oh, and he's in there, just spell the name.
Okay, so this is what the contact stuff in here. So y'all can look up Brothers Info and contact them.
I know what you said, that.
Email, his name crossing place, his phone number, the chapter he joined through. He's booked. All right. Okay, you can go back and edit it on your own. Crossing date, things like that. So you can look up all this stuff. So y'all can look up people's info. If you don't have them, like,
I'm glad you showed me that. I don't know.
there you go. All right, so any more questions? I'm getting ready to move on. Something that's related to this, so y'all be aware of a project that we've been working on. Going once, going twice.
Oh, put my name in there and see what comes up.
Oh, that's Chris Robinson.
Not Robinson. Okay, that's not you, it's Chris Robinson.
Just have just a little bit.
Go ahead.
sleep.
Yeah.
My car broke down.
Yeah. What y'all eating? What y'all eating?
What is, what is the after relationship?
Okay, so this is a project that we got going on. And it relates to you guys getting your information in there, and we're also working on getting our alumni's information in there as well. This is the way we're gonna keep track of our chapters, numbers and so forth. So I wish this was a longer screen, but it'd be easier to read. So in this column, you get a breakdown of regions. Yeah, status code for the chapters. We'll go from here. So in this first column, you get the chapters' names. You get the campus that they're on. You get the city. You get the state. You get which region they're associated with. You get the status. You get the charter semester. You get the charter year. You get the charter type. You also have the last line that crossed from that chapter. The number of charter members, the number of lines that have gone through that particular chapter. What?
What chapter has 21?
18.
No, who had 14?
14 is the people that stay. But here's the caveat to this right now. And this is something that Brother Josh has been working on. It's been a 2-year, 3-year long process. Some of these numbers back here and some of these right here, we're trying to get better numbers for. Yeah, it's still being updated. But once we have it, it'll be significantly accurate. And it's based off of, this is the fall semester, that's the spring semester. Who all has come through. For the newer chapters, we got accurate numbers on them. For the most part, this one's not accurate. Let y'all know that. So then we take those numbers, sum them up over here. Some of these columns are already get summations on them, like this one. Some of them are just based off of the count that's up there. So we know how many members have crossed. If you look down here, it's about 490, but like I said, the numbers are not totally accurate. But once we get the accurate number, I'm pretty sure this number is over 500 that have crossed through our organization. Then, going back to having your membership dues paid, we're going to have this information on here. So we know who's paid for the current members, total number of members there, the total number of people that are inactive as well. Then also alumni, so you know how many alumni that are come through and graduated or moved on, how many brothers are orientating, how many have withdrawn their membership or forfeited their membership. We'll have specific notes on what's going on through that chapter. Like with our chapter, I know this for a fact, we had a line for the 2000-2001 fraternal year, 2 lines, the fall and the spring, and then also in 2003 and 2004. So that's accurate note too, based off of documents and stuff. And then also it helps us to keep an eye on, like with Delta numbers, they've only got 1 brother enrolled right now. So we would have to put help that brother out in terms of getting that campus populated again. And then broken down is the years that lines cross. So we get a feel of when certain chapters cross during each year, each semester. Go ahead, Brother BJ.
Do you have an update for the 93 bed exercise?
Thank
thank you. I'm so excited about it. You know technology. Amen.
All right, so 1993,
Okay.
that was 12.
12, was it the fall or the spring?
Hold on. It might be spring.
They typically do lines in the spring, right?
Yeah.
So it's probably the spring. So you had 13 or 12?
So there's no, there's nothing 92, we don't line 93.
There was nothing in 92? There wasn't one guy in 92?
That's 91, isn't it?
It's 91, 92.
Oh.
So there might have been a guy in the fall of 91.
That's one of the different, so I think 93, 94, there's 12 guys.
Well, it could be right, that 12 could be right here, because you probably didn't have nobody come in the fall, and they have somebody come in the spring. Okay. So this is, so, hey, Josh, you tracking? Yeah. We gonna get it right.
All right, hold on, so 94, 95, that's 7.
7?
Well, that's, wait, 94, 95, that's my line. That's 7.
The top line is the fall, right?
Yeah, top line is fall, right?
So, that was, yeah, so 94, 95, school year, that's 7. So, two guys that were on that line, they dropped.
Okay. So this needs to be 7.
That needs to be 7 right there.
So what is this?
That's still 7.
Okay.
All right, then 93, 94, there's nothing that year.
Okay.
The 97, 50, that's 12.
That's 12. Okay. And then was there 1 in 91?
Yeah, very good.
Okay, and then this prior year.
I'm gonna pick it up there.
Okay. I'm excited, man. Okay, so this document, we're updating it. We're trying to get the more accurate numbers for the chapters that are inactive or have been around a little bit longer. It's more challenging, because we gotta find the guys that were part of those processes. But as we find it, we will update this information, and we will have accurate count of our total membership. And then that'll give you an opportunity to reach out to them guys and ask them why you ain't been around, and encourage them to come back.
I have 2 more, I should.
All right, any questions with this document? Beautiful. Yes, sir.
Are you gonna take it out?
This one, no. This one will go out. But what we will do is set numbers so y'all are aware of the total membership and things like that. This is an internal document. Yes, sir.
So for me,
Yeah, you look like you
no,
had.
well, I thought this was, this is not on the, this, we're out of the members only.
Yeah, this is
That's
NC.
NC now.
Yeah, that's NC.
No problem. Well, my favorite. Yeah, so you can go to the section on the outside, because I would,
Yeah, Brother Josh gave me y'all's numbers. Y'all's are accurate. Yes, sir. You just scratch my head. Throw your head. All right, what else can we chat about? Let's take a break, about a 10-minute break, and then we'll get situated for the next activity. All right.
Whoever wanted UniPhied to follow them on Twitter, if you can just come up here and let me know.
Let's go, Alex.
I just followed you. Follow me back.
No, everything was good. It was just good. I don't know, I just shake my head. And I was shaking my head also. I don't say that we didn't. I wish you didn't bridge it up. I let this go on.
You said.
Okay, you slow. There wasn't no pop in signal crazy thing. There wasn't no shoot up. Yeah, I know. This is a piece of stuff on our power. That's what they expect. This is what did I think? I ain't gonna lie to you. I mean, I just got to join the weed hair of that thing. I was very proud of my chapter. That was the first time we actually finally put something together and put it. I mean, and you know, it's like pulling teeth. What's it do? Yep. I'll give him my, I can't read my phone, especially when people talking about it. My first brother secretary is he gonna be here.
No, yeah, he ain't gonna be fast.
Yeah. I just don't feel like you. There's something called fire channel.
We can put in the plan for liquid.
Oh, no, about that. You know, like 5 years back. I want
I saw somebody. He said, There's a picture. This boy put a picture of his head.
That's why I picked one.
Oh,
I don't know, I never, I heard of the.
Oh, my. Oh, yeah, you put it What? Come up with this stuff. Yeah, doing it, right?
You gonna talk to the guy?
I mean, there's also, now there's another challenge, but this there's another challenge with my cousin showed us, but that was weird. They're calling it a challenge that people do. That's way over. Yeah, you know, that's Super Bowl. Yeah, that's the, and that's. The one that we did, my cousin. My cousin, when she was younger, she was like a teenager, she and she was like TYC. They used to when she got out, she was like 30 minutes. Really? My cousin, she come and show us, she like, hey, y'all. I didn't get time.
This is you right here.
So, she was like, okay, just give me a walk. Then we take it off. She would give me a neck, she wasn't showing. She would put it on the outside, she would actually walk in. And we were doing this, like, such a happy. And so we'd be like, standing there, laughing, my baby stood there laughing, like, it's not, like, yeah. And I'm like, hey, but you still smile. And we just like, you know, just die, like, he just. And then he stood up, he was like, oh, I'm not afraid. He didn't even know me. You guys are talking about, okay, let's go back to you. That's why he dropped. Get up. He didn't even know it just happened. You want to do me? No. Where was it? It is, but it depends on what you do. It's more like
Yeah.
It's very
You doing tutorials on
Brother
the
Fred, can you help me out, bro? You mind grabbing my cell phone over there? It's over there on the wall. You see it? Yeah. I appreciate you, man. Hey, man, so what y'all planning this semester? They told me something about there's a Lamar versus
Or if that's like gonna be. Well, it's not even crazy, it's just another team. Any part by itself.
And I'll stay here. You guys have tickets.
Sit on the.
Flooded this time. Everybody who followed there, everybody followed like us. I know all this. And then I just got mine. Why I didn't follow that people? The lake of land is salmon. When I started, I started messing with her. She became kind of stubborn. I had this, I sent my case as a diversion. Hey, come walk me right quick. We got this, you know, this. We're on. I was like, I'm sorry. I was with the cheese. I understood.
Okay, and what's one Lord, he was there, so I'm like, what you looking at? He said, yeah, I was like, man, that's well, oh, yeah. Okay, y'all, let's get that ready, man.
Next level campus. Next level
Alright, so G. Alright, so let us continue on with our activities for conference. Coming to us for the remainder of this afternoon is a very important member of this organization. He's a visionary. He's also a Christian business owner, as well as a devoted husband and father. He wants to share with you guys today and pour into you and hopefully get some things going in your mind in terms of what life looks like after college. If you wouldn't mind, put your hands together for Brother Kelvin Case James.
Wow, it's good to see you, brothers. Thank you so much for allowing me to come back and fellowship, to be a part of the conference. Dick has always been gracious enough to let me have some time on the agenda. BJ was very kind to doing that. And whoever the next president is, please let me have a little time because I love fellowship and being around you brothers. You guys are some good brothers. Thank you for being a part of this organization. So I applaud you. Now, what I wanted to talk to you guys about, I feel like I'm in one of those churches with big screens and YouTube on the side, but I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to minimize this a little bit. And what I want to talk to you about is Christian entrepreneurship. I'm going to start off there. Nick, how long do I have? What's my time?
You got about an hour and 30 minutes.
Okay. Now, I may or may not use all that, and I may be all on the board, so you're just going to get used to it a little bit. But let's talk about, and I'm going to talk a little bit, and then we're going to do Q&A, and I'm going to be open for questions, any of your questions. So we can stay on topic and go where we want to go. But the topic is about Christian entrepreneurship and Christian business. Now, everybody is not cut out to be an entrepreneur. Everybody's not cut out to be a business person. And that's okay. And everybody's not cut out to be a teacher. Everybody's not cut out to be an engineer. I could not be an engineer like the brothers here. They have very analytical minds. My brain is more designed for, I was a communications major. So I talk to people. I'm good at communicating. And one of the things that I want to talk about, so I'm going to see where I'm going to start. Anything else with that? Okay. We're just going to start here. Bear with me. All right. Oh, that's the way. Okay. I should move this out of the way. You know you do that. Okay. How many of you think you might want to go into business one day? Okay. Now, I used to think, when I was in school, I didn't know what I wanted to be. I just didn't want to go to college. And my daddy prayed that when I was growing up. And so me and one of my best friends went to UT. And he actually, I got into UT provision, meaning that I had to work hard to get in. I didn't score the 1120 or 1100, 1300, whatever it was back then. But, and this is what I tell my son now, because what I understand now, getting into college is a lot harder now. But God opens doors, and the Lord opened up doors for me back in high school. He opened up doors for me getting into college. He opened up the door for me to get out of college. Because once you get in, you got to stay in. And you got to graduate. But what I wanted to say is that I did not know quite what I wanted to do career-wise going into college. And one of our frat brothers, Dwight Burns, he said, let's go and we were both undeclared liberal arts. So let's go into the College of Communications. They have something called Organizational Communications. So, okay, sure, let's go check that out. So we got in there, started taking the class, and I loved it. He got out. He went to history. Left me there all by myself. But in Organizational Communications, I got a chance to study business communications, and I started liking, business. Before then, in high school, you think about, people think about going off to be sports stars or going to Hollywood, or one of my friends said he wanted to be a distribution manager. I didn't even know what that was. So got into organizational communications, and it is under speech communications. And people said, well, when you graduate, most of you graduating will go into sales. Sales? I'm not going to go into sales. I'm going to go into public relations. Go into journalism. Sales. I got into sales. When I graduated in '92, the job market was really, really bad. I ended up in Dallas, couldn't find a job. And I actually went to,
went to Foley's. My first job out of school, now going through college, I worked at a law firm. And so I was running a law firm, and I thought that I was going to go into law school. Because I saw these little attorneys who were doing well, that's what I thought I was going to do. And I remember sitting down with one of the attorneys in counseling, and he was saying, well, if your real goal is to go into business, you may not want to go into law school, because lawyers find all of these why not to do something. Entrepreneurs, you have to believe that you can do it. And the lawyer, they train you by nature to be cautious. And entrepreneurs are risk takers. So back to Dallas, make a long story short, I ended up working at Foley's in the men's suit department. Now, I believe the scripture of Romans 8:28, Romans 8, do all things through Christ. I'm sorry. Everything works for the good of those who love the Lord and call the word of his purpose. That is, yeah. And so I believe that every God uses every opportunity to benefit you. If you believe that, you love it. So in school, in college, I waited tables. I believe that benefited me as far as customer service skills are concerned. I worked in a law firm, so I had 2 jobs in college. So, and we started GPA. But so out of school, I couldn't find a job. I even took I was thinking firefighter, take a civil service engineer exam. I missed it by 1 point. I'm thinking, I went to college, I should be able to do this, right? No, it was for 12 guys. So I worked in the men's suit department at Foley's. That was my introduction to commission-only sales. You ever heard of commission-only sales? You don't get paid, you only get paid on what you sell. Most people don't want to do that. And I didn't want to do it, but that's all I could do at the time. I did it, I learned so much. You learned about sales, you learned about customer service, you learned about, you're going to eat what you give, basically. That's figuratively. And so one of my customers was a black entrepreneur, and he was starting Howard Communications, a company that was servicing long distance. This is back when long distance was Sprint and MCI and all those kind of things. So anyway, he hired me, and I was learning sales, and that company went under. So I didn't have any money to pay my rent, and I made one of the best decisions I ever made. And back then, you would not have thought it. I had to tuck my tail and come home to mama's house. That was a rough. Thinking I went through school, why? Got back home, God opened up other doors for me. Got on with a company called Phonoscope Cable. I was a dispatcher, cable TV. In the dispatch department. Now watch this, guys. I'm working on the radio, the walkie-talkies, working with these cable technicians, doing customer service. And I saw something where my light bulb went off. I'm telling you this because if you can find something to do that you're passionate about, going to work is no problem. Getting up in the morning and doing what you do, you love what you do, as opposed to dreading going into the office saying, I really don't want to do this, I'm unhappy. And those kind of things can make a difference in your life. I saw video conferencing for the first time in 95, 94 actually. And that was people talking to people through the television. You had, cell phones had just come out, guys. We didn't have the internet as we know it today, back in 1992. So that was when my light bulb went on. And I went to the owner, and I said, Mr. Cook, let me go work on that video conferencing. He goes, you can't do that. It's real technical. He hired some blonde-haired black girl to do sales and everything. She bombed. So I said, let me have that opportunity. He gave it up to me. And I didn't know anything about video conferencing, but here's another thing. Here's another life application. Take initiative. I taught myself. I got the big book. The manual was that thick. I read it myself, and I learned. I learned video conferencing. I went outside of those resources. I think someone was telling me, this brother was telling me that he was going in early and showing the initiative. That hard work does pay off. So I did that. And then I got into, and again, I was very fortunate because we made some mistakes along the way. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. That old saying, it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. That's staying in business. And so I got there, I learned video conferencing. I was given an opportunity to get into fiber optics, learned satellites. I got out of dispatch and customer service. I wrote contracts for Houston. I did contracts for that company for the Georgia Brown Center, for Reliance Stadium, not Reliance, for the Minute Maid Park. So I got exposed. Now, in that training time, there were some older people that took me under their wings and gave me the opportunity. So I've always been very fortunate to work closely with the business owners and watch what people do. Learn from them. You don't have to tell them you learn from them, but watch, listen, absorb. You can't just jump out there and do business on your own. There is so much to learn, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit. But, and if you don't want to be doing the business for yourself, that's fine. But whatever you're doing, learn, absorb, don't be egotistical, big-headed, think you know everything. You have to learn. You have to pay your dues, basically. And then when you get that fire in your belly, there's got to be a fire in the belly if you're going to go out on your own. I'll tell you about that in a minute because give you a sidebar. I thought I was going to go into ministry. I was going to be a preacher. You know, all my brothers going into ministry. This is UniPhied, right? So I thought I was going to go to ministry. And I remember consulting with my pastor, Reverend Johnson, on Hope Street at the time. And he was saying, you know, there's got to be a fire in your belly. You got to know that you want this more than anything. And I wasn't sure. And if you're not sure, then you know, maybe that's not what you need to do. But once you get something that you're sure, that you know, that you know, that you know that this is what you want to do, go at it and all your heart. Don't let anybody tell you anything else. Pray about it. Thank God. Show you the right way to go. Your way may not be His way. You may bang your head on some doors until the door opens that God wants you to do. And then just be ready to take hold of that direction. So anyway, what I want to tell you is just my background and how I got into video conference, okay? And you know, this from that small fiber optic company in Houston, I got on with MCI. A lot of you guys don't remember MCI. Back then, there were companies like Sprint, MCI, AT&T. There were national long distance carriers. So I got a position there, and I was selling video conferencing equipment for the state of Texas and the Gulf Coast of Louisiana. State of Louisiana, Gulf Coast of Texas, sorry. And so I had some very large accounts. Now, video conferencing, what y'all see, what y'all are going up with this Facebook, and I might stray away from this microphone, but with the Facebook and FaceTime, FaceTime and Google Hangouts and Skype. Y'all, it was, in the early days, it was not like that video conferencing. Now, video conferencing equipment cost $50,000 per box when we're selling that. Seriously. No, seriously. And so that meant only companies like Ford and GM and the large universities could afford it. And then, and I sold a couple of those too. Albemarle, I sold them about $100,000 worth of equipment in Louisiana. And then a company called Polycom got it. So I mean, you are familiar with Polycom. They're making sound stations. And let me back up. While I was at MCI, this was another opportunity or door that opened for me, was I was able to get professional sales training. Okay, before then I thought salesmen were like used car salesmen. Sleazy, you know, just trying to get you do something you don't want to do, and you know, it's not the case. Professional sales is different from retail sales. It's different from you know, most of the marketing sales. Professional sales is a methodology. There is a certain process that one goes through, just like any trade. And once you learn your trade, whether it's accounting, engineering, teaching, you want to excel at that trade. Learn as much as you can, and then if you think you want to go into business for yourself, then take that plunge. And there's different ways of doing that. One is bootstrapping, and one is doing it a more rational way, saving up funds or raising funding for that. I'll talk about both of those in a minute. Going back to me, that professional sales training made a big difference for me because one of the gentlemen back at home that took me under his wings was an older guy. And we went to Lockheed Martin, and this guy was showing me everything to do that was wrong in sales. He was just not giving the customer a chance to talk and just ran it down the throat, just talking. And so when I got to MCI and I saw the difference, I said, I can do this. Okay? So couple that with your ability on your trade, with something that you want to do, video conferencing, and there was a match for me. Okay? I was talking to Mike, one of our brothers, Mike Scott. You remember Mike Scott who was here earlier? He's got a business that he's doing. He's a music. He teaches music. And so he's trying to grow that business. I wanted to be able to assist him. Let me tell you guys, the Lord has blessed me tremendously. My business has been up and down. Okay, that's the cyclical nature of business. But God has really blessed me, and I want to give him all the credit, all the glory. I want to be able to share things with you brothers. Because I know what not to do. I'm still learning what to do, right? But I know what not to do. And so, what I did want to impress upon you is that when you get good at what you're doing and you find something you want to do, that's a good opportunity for you to kind of branch off on your own. From there, I worked, I left Ownerscope, again, I went back twice, went back. And I worked with a company called Review Video conferencing. And I was heading up the Houston office. Did very well. Enron was my largest customer. And I'll tell you how that story was. You might know how that story ends, but it was good while it lasted. The company I was working for transitioned from a direct sales organization, which I'm very good with direct sales, to a distributor, basically. There's a distributor here, where they wanted to us to sign up all the mom and pop shops and not have a direct relationship with the customer. That was my strength. So I went to them and I said, let me have my own business. I'll continue to buy from you, but I want my customers. And they said, okay. So that's how I got into business for myself. That was the main business. I had several businesses. I actually had a business back in college. I don't know if you guys know that or not. Sidebar again, but who's it? Okay, I had a business called Kasich Textbook Delivery Service. Before the internet, back at UT, people would have to go through the central registration through the Irwin Center and sign up for their classes, come out, and then you have to go buy your textbooks. Well, back in 88, I had a delivery service saying, hey, we'll go get your books for you. We'll buy them used, we'll buy them new, whatever you want, we'll deliver them to your door, to your job, wherever. It went well for the first year. Okay, but I was young, I was still learning, and I could advertise to everybody that came out of that Irwin Center because they had to come out this door. I had a file for them. Well, next year UT went to centralized phone registration. Oh man, how do I advertise now? So I had a little money left over, took some money left over for financial aid. I started advertising on the radio. Not a good decision, because on the radio station that I chose, which was the most popular one, it's going out to everybody who ain't going to UT just about. It's going out to everybody in the city. That was not my target demographic audience. So that was a bad decision. And so I had to close that business down. But I was trying to get my friends involved, trying to be like, hey, what you doing, man? This is dumb. How much money you make? It wasn't a lot, but it was enough to pay for the bills. But that was one of my really first endeavors in trying to get a small business owner. Now, something else that opened up my eyes was some of the classes that I took at UT. I had Dr. Butler. I don't know, is Dr. Butler still at UT? Anybody? Okay, I don't think he's still there. But he talked about black business owners, black entrepreneurship, and I learned the rich history of African American business ownership before civil rights and after civil rights legislation. And that opened my eyes for me because you just didn't, I wasn't exposed to that. When I was young, my mother was the old-fashioned mother that took you to the white doctor because she thought that was, she wasn't an expert. Yeah, she was under that mindset before civil rights. We've had lots of conversations about it. But I knew, I was exposed to black business owners, and I knew by then that that's what I wanted to do. So fast forward back to leaving Ownerscope, work for Review Video, transitioning customers to myself. So I transitioned Enron to myself. Now here's the thing I want to impress upon you. If you want to go into business, you got to get good at whatever your skill set is. So you think, okay, I can do this. I know this stuff like the back of my hand. But what happens is that you go into business and you're good at that, but then you got all this other stuff to learn about running a business. That's where the hard part is. Now, I got another slide. I'm going to come back to this in just a second. But some of the other stuff, marketing, sales function, technical support, billing, bookkeeping, administrative, human resources, and business ownership. This is kind of a workflow model that I've kind of put together over the years. And this is not manufacturing. This is a service organization. Okay, because you have different types of business. You have manufacturing, you have finance, you have all engineering, all kind of different business. But this is kind of like a basic model of a business. You got to go out and get sales. You got to let people know about your business. And I look at marketing as the buckshot approach. You want to reach as many people as you can with marketing. Social media, direct mail, email blasts. And now, what I'm talking about here is a business as far as an operation. People can be in business when they're self-employed. And there's a world of difference in being self-employed and being a business owner. Self-employed is just that. Self has to do everything. You may not have any employees now. If your business is one that when you make a sale, you make a lot of money for that sale, it could be a financial transaction. That's different than making a sale on something that you may make $50 on. If you make $500 per sale, well, you can be self-employed pretty well. But if you only make $50 per sale, you got to get a whole bunch of $50 sales in order to earn a living. These are things that we don't really think about when we jump out there in business. Now, this right here is an operation. In order to have an operation, you got to have people. And that's when you start getting employees or contract people. And I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, and I'm going to kind of throttle back a little bit. I'm going to give you my history, then I'm going to come back to my topic, and then we'll come back to this in a minute. But when I got out there, I've had businesses where I've had employees. I've had a staff of 5, and I've been in business where it's just me. Right now, it's me and 2 contractors. I had an administrative assistant last year. She moved on for a better opportunity. So you have to make a choice. These are all kind of things that you don't think about. That business ownership and management stuff, those are strategic. So when you're spending time in each one of these squares, you may not be spending time in doing that which makes you money. Whether it's teaching music, as Mike Scott said this morning, or actually doing the video conference. Until you get people that you can delegate. That division of labor thing comes in really sharp focus when you start trying to build out your business. I'm going to come back to this for a second because my topic was Christian entrepreneurship. Now again, how many of you brothers think you might want to go into business for yourself one day? Raise your hands high, because if you're going to want to do this, you're going to have to be sure that this is what you want to do. Now, if it doesn't work out for everybody, but you got to try. Okay? I know people who have gone through bankruptcy. To be honest, I'll be honest with you, I've gone through bankruptcy. You know, after Enron went down, I held on to my small business with a staff of 5, trying to do the right thing, paying people, commission-oriented salespeople, and they did not make any sales. Holding on to staff because I knew that my admin at the time just had a baby, so I didn't want to let her go too soon. Those are the kind of struggles that a Christian business makes. You want to do what's morally, what's godly right, but at the same time, you think about your family, food at your table. It's a very hard dilemma. The reason I wanted you to hold your hands up high is because I like to hear from you. What kind of business do you think you might want to go into? Just throw it out there. Just have a conversation. Just throw it out there. I didn't know I wanted to go to video conference, but that's where I ended up.
For me, we act.
Act, okay?
Because I have to produce, I have to market.
Yes, you do.
So, it's funny because I actually have opportunity for audition right now. And if I was to get it, I would have to quit my full-time job.
Right. You would. And so therefore you're in business for yourself. Who else? Throw out something else you think you might want to do for yourself. Have your own gym. And see, what I like about that is that if you're doing one career thing and it may not be exactly related to the other things that you want to do for yourself, learn everything that you can here, because you take that skill set with you, whatever skill set it is, you're going to take with you to do your own thing. I saw a hand going back here. Yes, sir.
Personal training.
Pardon? Personal trainer.
Personal training.
I'm working with a personal trainer. I'll tell you this, guys. You'll never stop learning. I'm getting mentored by people who have retired from their businesses. I'm getting mentored from an older gentleman who had 4 oil and gas pipelines. He said 3 of them were successful, 1 of them he lost money on. But he's telling me stuff that I just have not had a chance to learn, with business. I'm also mentoring somebody who has started a personal trainer. He's over here at the park. We started a conversation. He's just now starting off, and I'm just sharing information. Okay. Well, I saw another hand over here. Yes, sir.
Technology firm.
Okay, technology firm. I'm going to drill down a little bit more. What do you mean? Because I'm in technology. Technology is broad.
Like making apps and stuff.
Okay, making apps. Okay. I saw another hand right next to you. I thought. Pharmacist. Who said that? Pharmacist? What are you studying now?
Public health.
Okay, so you can give me some foundation for what you think you might want to do later on. Right? Any other hands? Anybody else? Yes, sir.
I was driven down from a juvenile detention facility.
Really? As a for-profit or non-profit?
For-profit, actually.
Okay. Okay, good. There are other companies. Something else. There are other companies doing what you want to do. Study them. Get the public information off the web. If you find somebody in that industry, talk to them. Somebody else had a hand up? Somebody else had a hand up? Okay. Now, what separates a Christian business owner from a non-Christian business owner? Exactly. But how does that manifest itself? Because I'm sure we've all worked for people that you thought were the meanest, cruelest, hardest people, and then they found out they might have been a Christian later. I said, wait a minute, this is in jail. What's going on? Well, opposite, you just work for some mean folks. He said, I don't want to be like that in my management role, or my role in my business. Has that ever happened to you? Okay. So, I did some research, and I was looking up definitions of Christian entrepreneurship, or Christian business. And there were some long, flowing, flowery definitions. And you know, one definition was the accumulation of wealth. The business owner is supposed to accumulate wealth. It's not about accumulating wealth. I'll be the first person to tell you it's not about accumulating wealth. Wealth can be a byproduct of doing a good job, of doing something better than somebody else, doing something to the best of your ability, but that's not the end goal. It'll happen. If God says it happen, it'll happen. So don't worry about it happening. That's why I like this definition. A person who organizes and operates a business or businesses taking on greater than normal financial risk in order to do something. That's a good definition of entrepreneurship. Okay, let's just talk about entrepreneurship, okay? Because, you know, I used to, those of you who know me know that I'm not the biggest fan of multi-level marketing. Back in the day, they used to hit you up at Starbucks, they hit you up everything. Oh man, I know you look. And if any of you are doing that, I'm not trying to, I'm just, you're not doing that, right? That's not a business. I mean, it's a business for people who got in first and started it. But for me to be a clog or just a piece of their puzzle, that's not entrepreneurship. You may have your own little distributorship, and that's fine. They may tell you you should own this. They feed you these words. I'm not going to get on my soapbox, so there you go. But don't think that that's a real business, per se, of entrepreneurship and the things that one has to really go through. So I'm going to move on quickly. An entrepreneur is one that starts a business, who runs a business. You can buy a business. You can buy an existing business and improve upon it. The key here is if you're going to be a business owner, you're going to have to take risks. Now, we call those calculated risks. We pray about it, so it may or may not be a risk to us. But it is. You don't have a paycheck coming in every day, or every week, or every month. You get what's left over after you pay everybody else. So sometimes you might have to get a part-time job. Sometimes you might have to get a full-time job. I tell you my story. Oh, this is important too. And I know I'm all over the place, but listen to me on this, okay? After I had to close Big Oscar was my first business. I closed it in 2004. I had it in 98, 2004. I down. I just couldn't hold on. Now I got married in 95. So first thing I want to tell you is if you can start your business before you get married, do it. Because you're taking risks. And how many of you have read a book called His Knees and Her Knees? I've heard it's a great Christian book. His Knees, Her Knees. We know what a man's basic needs are, okay? A woman's basic need is security. Now what does that say? You're taking risks. That ain't security. Okay, so if you have the ability to start your business before you get married, I would strongly suggest it because your life will be up and down. You're going to be taking risks. You're going to be all over the place. That's not conducive to a good marriage. Okay? Now, if you start your business and you're doing well, this you're going to like it. You're providing security, okay? But what I'm saying is she may marry you in one state of mind, knowing you in one way. And if your business starts going down, you're going to be a totally different person. And she may not be used to that, so it's going to put a strain on the marriage. But listen to me when I say this, please. It's very, very important. It put a strain on my marriage. And I've been married 19 years. Praise God. I'll say this. Children, I can't take all the credit. I have a godly wife. She's incredible. Been married 19 years. It put a strain on our marriage. We did have the conversations about divorce. A lot of people have those conversations. But one thing that I did that my mama told me to do, and let me back up, because she didn't just tell me to do it like that. This was years and years of conversation. But not just from others, but talking with other Christian men, doing my own research, reading Christian books, of course reading the Bible. But I've seen so many people make this mistake. You have your business, you're trying to make it work, you're putting everything into it, the marriage is struggling. I know too many Christian business owners who are divorced because they put the business before the marriage. Don't do that. The business won't produce kids for you. The business won't be there when you're up or when you're down. The business won't be there to hold your hand. All it is a financial tool. It's a tool. That's all the business is. You may have people working for you, so it's an organization, it's an operation. It's not your family. I know so much. I got to stay on this a little bit because I've talked to so many Christian, not Christian, regular business, and some Christian business people. I will say that. But I've talked to so many business owners. In fact, I had a conference. I met a business owner about 4 months ago, and you heard that term TMI, too much information? I didn't know this guy from that. And he's just spilling his guts to me, telling me, because we knew some of the same people in the industry, that he had a big bow, and his bow was next to Detroit, some lake or something. He was making all this money. In fact, I hadn't heard about him from a different industry. So, he was legit. And he said, and this is what this guy, white guy, told me. He said, I lost it all. He said, she deserved it. He said, I had an affair, and I lost it all. He said, there are so many times I wish I could be there and go home to my daughter, go home to my son, and I can't do it. He was heartfelt, man. I didn't ask this guy anything. That's just one example. So what I'm trying to tell you is, when it comes to the business and your marriage, keep the marriage first. Now, how does that manifest itself? Because if you're saying, I'm not going to give up, in my case, I'm not going to give up the business, because this is what I believe I'm supposed to do. This is what I believe God's leading me to do. And she's saying, we're suffering, we can't pay our bills, they're not secure. Well, then you might have to make a choice to put the business on the back burner. You're not giving up. So in my case, when I closed Videosity, and this was very important, one of the better decisions I made, I had to get full-time employment. I got full-time employment at several jobs, Picking Bows, Rico. And all of a sudden, at the same time, I was rebuilding my business. Now, I had the type of business where, video conferencing for hotels. Well, my business is, I used to sell a lot of equipment when I had Videosity. Okay? I was selling Polycom, and this was before Cisco bought Tandberg. So I was shipping units all over the world. My business actually shifted. Now I'm a service organization. I provide video conferencing services to most of the hotels in Houston. I did the Hyatt, I did the Four Seasons. So when GE goes down, I was up in Dallas at the Omni Hotel. GE came in and we did a video conference back to 9X. It's a certain skill set that everybody, this is where FaceTime doesn't work, Skype doesn't work, Google Hangouts doesn't work, because the quality is not there. And the quality is not there, so we use hardware. So I provide services to the hotels. I'm a service organization. I have contract technicians that I can dispatch out. Contract technicians, they don't just work for you, they have their own business, they do their own things. It's called 1099, and what that means is that I don't pay the taxes on it. They pay their own taxes on it. Okay? I'm saying all that to say, I put the business on the back burner, and I had to demonstrate to my wife that my family, my wife was more important than the business. Because she told me she felt threatened about business. It was rough. One time I wasn't making the money. I'm the father, the husband, the head of the house. I got to bring home the money. I got to make sure the bills are paid. So, and it's hard because you're so blinded by your business, by I can do this, I can do this. But I did that. We stayed together for one, and we're still together. So that was another takeaway I would like you to remember. Always put your family first. The business can go away. You can start another business. Okay? It's hard to start another family. Don't let your children grow up without you. So marriages break up for other reasons, incompatibility issues, infidelity, whatever. Don't let the business be one of the issues. That's all I'm trying to say. Okay? Now, going back to this right here, this definition of business operates a business taking on greater than normal financial risk. Okay? You are going to take on some financial risk. If you have the ability to keep your credit scores good, do that. Back when I had Videosity, I had good credit. And my credit is going back better now. Once you go through a bankruptcy, that's a 7-year ding on credit. I had good credit, so let me show you what was able to happen. Now, I'm telling you this because I wasn't really taught this growing up. My mother basically did what she could for the family. I was raised with my mother and stepfather. Okay, stepfather was, man, okay, my mother kind of raised me with everything, not to be like, this guy here. And bless his heart, I mean, he recently passed away, so I'm not talking ill about him. He was there, he tried his did jail between us. I'm close to my biological father now, that's good. What I'm trying to say is all the stress of the family was on my mother. So my mother, did everything she could to keep us clothed, fed, and everything. That means, she took risks with her credit. So I didn't get the good banking skills, good credit management skills. I had to learn that the hard way. So, but if you guys have that, utilize it. If your parents taught you about protecting your credit and maintaining your credit, do that. That is very important. I grew up with the mindset, okay, well, we got to take this risk. My credit goes bad, that's okay, but I got to put food on the table for my family. So that was my mindset going on. That was the example that I saw. Not a good example of business. But because I had good credit back then, I was able to go to the SBA. SBA gives SBA loans. So I had a couple $100,000 loans. I was able to grow my business a little bit. Without good credit, no loans. Without any loans, you have to bootstrap. We're going to talk about bootstrapping in just a minute. Bootstrapping is necessity. If you are able to raise financing for your business, whether putting it for savings, raising capital from what's called friends and family, then investors. Friends and family is your starter stage. That's where friends and family is actually coming for angel investors. Because, and then you get your angel investors, and then if your business is successful, you can get institutional investors and so forth and so forth. But if you can raise financiers, that's hurdle number one, because it makes starting your business a lot easier. The second hurdle is managing those finances. That's where a lot of us mess up. I messed up, okay? I didn't know when to stop spending because my business took a dip. Instead of being the cyclical nature, after Enron collapsed, my business plummeted. I wasn't used to that because it had always done this and come back up, this and come back up. And I made the mistake of putting all of my eggs in one basket for Enron. I was shipping units to Beijing, China, London. I was doing installations all over the country. It was a good income. I wasn't prepared for this, so therefore I didn't manage the resources that I had effectively. So when those resources ran out, you start scrambling. Just like on your personal level, you start scrambling. You say, okay, go get 2 jobs. Well, as soon as you do that, when you have your business, that could affect, your recovery on your business. So anyway, it was really rough. So I advise you, if you can keep your credit good, if you can raise finances, that's one thing, but get mentoring so that you can learn what to do with the resources. SCORE, Service Corps Retired Executives. It's a free service offered by the SBA. These are retired business people, and they're good. They're good for startups. Their effectiveness depends on who you get. I had a lot of people who were mid-level managers who were great at telling me about human resources. Yes, sir.
A couple questions.
Yes.
What is the acronym SBA, and then can you explain what happened with Enron?
Yes. The question was, what is the acronym of SBA? Small Business Administration. It's a government, it's part of government. They're designed to assist small businesses. I don't know how many of you know, but small businesses will make up the bulk of businesses in America. You have large corporations that are doing well, but they're small business owners. There are far more small business owners than there are large. The second question was,
What happened? What is Enron? What happened?
I'm sorry, y'all remember Enron? Maybe some of you guys remember. Enron was a ride, actually. Enron was a large oil and gas company. And they imploded. And I remember this, okay? Because I was doing business with Enron Oil and Gas, I was doing business with EOG Resources, I was doing business with Enron Broadband. Enron Broadband was before we had all the internet speeds that we have. They were promising to do what Netflix is doing. That was their model. We can deliver every movie from ever created on the face of the planet over to your home. It was smoke and mirrors, guys. I remember going into Ken Lay's conference room. I saw a video conference in the CEOs. Jeff Skilling, this guy is still in jail now. I saw a video conference in their conference room. So what happened with Enron was that they were cooking the books. They got caught by the regulators. People lost not only their jobs, they They lost their retirement 401ks, their pensions in Houston. So people who have been working in Enron for 20 years, 25 years. Let me give you an example. My father-in-law worked for Texas Instruments, okay? And he retired and did very well. He was in mid to upper level management. He did well, $1 million. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Enrons, okay? So the people at Enron thought they were going to do the same thing. And all of a sudden, overnight, it's gone. Wiped out. These are people who are about to retire who don't know how they're going to pay mortgages or anything. So it was really bad. In fact, I'll say this real fast. I did the video conference at the DoubleTree Hotel after Enron imploded. I was in a room full of bankers, Citibank, Chase Bank, all these bankers were there. They wanted their money from Enron. So here I am, just to get in the room, you have police escort. I'm just a little check at the table, right? With the video conference with the sound guy, microphone guy. And these people were shouting, cursing. They were mad and aiming at the executives. It looked like it was going to be a fight. It was really bad. So anyway, that was the answer to the next question. So as a vendor to Enron, I was used to a certain amount of income. In fact, when they built the Enron Tower, I got to tell you this one.
I'm sorry. When you say cook the books, what does that mean?
Okay, cook the books means that they lied. They showed that they had, let's say, I don't know, $1 billion in profits, $50 million in profits, when they might have been losing $25 million. So they were lying not only to the employees, they were lying to Wall Street, they were lying to the regulators, they were lying. They were just flat out lying. They would show revenues, they were doing accounting tricks. They would show revenues from one company, and if it's a profitable company, they may show it, I don't know, for the whole company. And they were just cooking the books. They were just flat out lying. Now, I'll come back to this. I'll make it go. Accounting is very important in business. That's why I was stressing to you about your credit right now. But keeping the books accurate is very important. Let me tell you this is a testimony, okay? For me. Remember, I was doing a lot of business with Enron, and they built a second tower in Houston. And it was me, I took my wife and my 2 kids out to the Spindletop restaurant on the top of the High Regency. That's a restaurant where you sit down and you spin around very slowly and you get the panoramic view of Houston. And so there was a bid for the second tower. Now, granted, before this bid, I did some business with Enron where I sold them $350,000 worth of video conference bridging equipment. That's a whole other story. I really had to work hard for that. Made a lot of money on that one, too. So I just knew I was going to get the bid for the new building. That was going to be 3 video conferencing units on every floor. Okay? It was a big deal. And I didn't get it. They brought in these guys from Britain, and they outsourced it to some other company called MCSC, actually. And so check this out. We're sitting here, and I'm all depressed. I take my family out. We're sitting down, going around in a circle. Every time I see the new tower, I get all mad and upset. I'm complaining to my wife. She said, honey, there's a reason you need to get it. God knows. He has got the best for you. And this was before we knew that they were going to implode. So, a week or 2 later, all the news came down. And I was like, oh my Lord. If I would have gotten that $1 million plus deal, I wouldn't have never gotten paid. The company that won that $1 million plus deal didn't get paid and went out of business. So, again, God is opening doors for you. Your faith is in God. He's going to guide you. Come back to you. What do you want to know about business? Because I can talk, and I'm going to talk some more, but I'm going to take a little pause. I'm going to give time for some questions.
Well, my question is PowerPoint
I don't know. If I clean it up, yeah. But this is just something I threw together real fast. I can send it out. I do want to hit some of these other. We'll see. I can send it out. Next question. Yes, sir.
My question is, when you since you're beginning a business, do you think the best route to actually, would you rather start it full out by yourself, or would you want to partner with somebody and then try to work from there? What would you best suggestion?
Good question. I think I just hung up on my wife back because I was trying to hit one button. Calling back button. I think I'm good. She might be calling back. Let me just end her since I was talking about her. That's her. Hey, dear. I'm at the podium, I was just talking about you. So, the podium. But since I was just talking about you, I just took your call. This is my wife, everybody, what I was just talking about.
Hey.
Okay, the answer to your question, brother, that's a good question. Now, let me tell you this. With business, there are no textbook answers. The young guy that I was telling you about that's doing the fitness trainer, he asked me just last week, is there a book that I can read? The answer is no. The answer is that there are a million books that you can read. There are so many books out there about business that it'll make your mind spin because you don't know which one you need at the time. So there's no textbook answer to your question, but I will tell you from experience, my personal experience, because I have in no media communication, which is my business, my video conferencing business, and I actually have a partnership called Cutting Edge Media. I'm in a partnership right now. I've been told this before I got into the partnership, that partnerships are rough. Do you go into business with somebody you know? Do you go into business with a friend? Do you go into business with a total stranger that you don't know? You don't know their business habits, their practices. I thought in my situation it was going to be easier since there were two of us. It is not because we have different skill sets. We both have other businesses. So the cutting edge media business is struggling right now. What I do with cutting edge media, I do digital signage. So I have digital signage in Buffalo Wild Wings, and 3 of them, Pearland, Webster, and Pasadena. We also do digital signage I'm in the courtyard by Marriott, Candlewood Suites, and Comfort Suites down in Pearland. So the answer to your question is that there's no easy answer. If you feel like you have a friend or somebody you can trust that you know very well, then you might want to take a stab at it. If not, as a business owner, leader, sometimes it is your way or the highway because you're responsible. You're responsible for the results and you're responsible for the failures. So there's no right or wrong answer. My preference is to do it by myself. That's my preference. Now you can have partnerships with one person, 2 people, 3 people. A corporation, you can have an LLC, you can have a limited partnership. There's all different kinds of ways of doing it. But if you know, you trust yourself, you know what you're capable of, you know what you're not capable of. Sometimes we fool ourselves and think we're capable of more than what we're actually capable of. So the answer to your question is, my preference is doing it by myself. But if I were to go into business with my best friend, that might be something different because I know him, I've trusted him. If I were to go into business with some of the brothers that I know in here, that I know and trust, and I've seen how they operate, I've seen the integrity, then I can go into business with. Yes?
Just a part 2 of this would be, when I thought of your business, and you have competitors that's been there for a while or on the same level, how do you go, not really against them, but how do you manage that, your partnership or just competitive level with other people?
Okay.
Other companies?
Good question. Let me go back to partnership for just a minute, because this is important. You can write this down and take it to the bank. If you do a partnership, get a partnership agreement in place. Okay? There are books out there. They're hard to find, and I can tell you the name of the book that I did. Check out from the library and read. But it tells you why partnerships fail. A lot of them fail. If you can put things on the front, in fact, I had a business owner of a copy machine company tell me this, and he had a very successful partnership. But he said, you know why my partnership is successful? It's because we have a legal binding contract that we wrote in the beginning of the partnership. So we don't, when things go south, we don't have to worry about figuring everything out because it's already written out. So if you have an attorney, you go to an attorney, but you can do it yourself. It's a little hard without an attorney. But what it says is that what happens in the partnership if one person is not pulling his share of the business?
Right.
What happens in the partnership if somebody decides they don't want to do it anymore? What happens in the partnership if somebody dies? These are all questions to take into consideration when operating a partnership. So I'm staying on that, but that's something to take away is if you're going to do, if anybody in this room wants to do a partnership, I heavily advise you to get what's called a partnership agreement in place. The second caveat on the partnership is anytime you go into business, you can do it as a sole proprietor, but a sole proprietor you have no protection. It's The sole proprietorship is Kelvin James, the name of the bank account is Kelvin James, or DBA, doing business as, no communication. What happens is that, if I'm a sole proprietorship and I install a video conferencing, or I hang a flat screen on the wall and it falls to somebody's head, I'm liable, because I am the business. So I advise you to get a corporation. Get some kind of corporate protection, whether it's an S Corp, a C Corp, or an LLC. An LLC right now is real popular and kind of the easier way to go. With a C Corp is a regular corporation, you get double taxation. You have to pay taxes on your revenue coming in, and you got to pay taxes on your income as well. An S Corp, you have some protection on that, and then an LLC, you're not double taxed either. So get protection. Now, going back to your question, competition, right? You asked me, let me make sure I got the question right. How do you handle your competition with a partnership, or how do you handle your competition, right? Competition in a way is good because you know somebody else is making money on what it is you want to do. What you do with competition is, and we're taught this in sales, is you don't go out and attack your competition. You don't disparage your competition. You don't talk about their negatives. Rather, what you do, and your name is Patrick. What you do is that you focus, you highlight your positives. You're looking for what's called your sales differentiator. Why should I do business with you over my competition? Are you going to compete on pricing? Are you going to compete on value-added services? Are you going to compete on your knowledge? Are you going to compete on your customer service? What is it that's going to differentiate you from the competition? And once you figure that out, then that's what you market. That's what you share. That's what you focus. Now, you're going to have that conversation with a customer or a prospect that's going to say, you know, so-and-so said this about you, or why should I go with you when, you know, I've been doing this with these other guys. You don't ever want to say, well, because they're lousy. You want to say, well, because we focus on this, we provide this service where they or anyone else may or may not focus on. You want to always take the high road. And that goes back to what I think is becoming a Christian business owner, is that we're going to have integrity as Christian men. We're going to have honesty as Christian men. If we have employees, we're going to treat them fairly as Christian men. Now, those are things that you have to take into consideration as far as what is treating fairly versus, taking money out of your pocket. You've got to be fair about that. Some companies would just treat their employees bad. That's not us. Some good examples of Christian businesses that you know of, the larger corporations, Chick-fil-A. You've heard of Chick-fil-A, right? When are they closed? I've also talked to the employees of Chick-fil-A. Some of them, they have a high turnover rate, just like any fast food restaurant, but they actually do some pretty good things over there. Hobby Lobby, larger Hobby Lobby, right? And there's tons of other businesses. And what that means is that as the owner, as the leader of your business, you can express what's appropriate behavior, what's appropriate to dress, what's appropriate corporate culture. You set those tones from a Christian standpoint. So, Patrick, did I answer your question about competition?
You did, sir.
Yes, sir. You got to tell me your name. That'll help me learn your name.
My name is Patrick Mitchell.
Got it, Patrick. I got you down, Patrick. I'm going to come back to you. Let me get this brother in the back. Tell me your name again.
Frederick.
Frederick. Got it, Frederick.
What's 3 tips for starting small business in college? Where does that mean?
3 tips for starting a small business in college. Find out number one, find out what you like and what you're good at. To me, it doesn't make any sense to do something that you hate. Or just do something because you think to make money. Now, like this partner that I was telling you about from other business, he's all over the world. He said, we can make money doing this, we can make money doing that, but we haven't perfected what we got already. Okay? So find something that you're passionate about, that you like. That's number one. Number 2, write it out on paper first. Do an outline. People will say do a business plan. I've talked to business owners that say, you know what, the business plan is overgrown, overrated. I've talked to other business owners that say, you need a business plan. I actually have a business plan. To be honest with you, I tried to write my own business plan for many, many years. I bought Smart Biz Plus, all this software. I do good on the verbiage when it came to the numbers. I didn't do good. When it came to the market and research, I didn't do good. I actually paid somebody to do the business plan. Paid $1,000. What the positive was that I got a finished product that I could take to the bank. The negative side was when the bank investor asked me to drill down into it, I wasn't as knowledgeable as if I would have written by myself. Now at the level that I am at now, I don't necessarily need a discipline, but I do have to, and I have now a better command of the financials and of my marketing research. I mean, I know about this. So point number 2 is write something down. Now that outline, here's the thing I want to tell you, is what it is you want to do. You can stick to who, what, when, and where, but you also got to figure out how. Okay, so what it is I want to do, how are you going to do it is really important. You got to think that stuff through. So what I'm trying to say is, a lot of people just go out there and do it. That's what I did with Casey Technical Delivery Service. I did what I did. But if you sit back, put pen to paper, start thinking about how I'm going to do this. Where am I going to do this? Who's my target audience? Who's going to buy this from me? And then your differentiator. Why are they going to buy it from you? And then at least that'll give you a guideline or a basis. How am I going to market? How am I going to let people know about my business? Once I get the business, how will I do a financial transaction? Am I going to take credit cards? You know, you got Square out there, but you got to set Square up. Take credit cards, okay? Merchant accounts, $50 a month. I have it. So here's my third point to you, brother. Tell me your name again, one more time.
Frederick.
Frederick. Okay, I got Patrick. I got Frederick. Frederick, here's number 3. This is really important. Really important. Now, you might be too young to grasp it because I didn't do it at your age. A cash flow analysis. Going back to the financials. You can look that up on the internet. Cash flow projections. Okay, projections. Meaning how much money, and I can send you a spreadsheet. The spreadsheet is a good tool because that lets you think about how much is it going to cost me in gas, how much is it going to cost me in marketing, business cards, and how much money I'm going to make, and then how many widgets or service, how much can I sell, and where I'm going to be in the next month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months down the road. Those are the 3 takeaways. Next question.
Sound like American plan to me.
A marriage plan? Never even thought about it that way. I never thought about it that way, but again, don't confuse a business with a marriage. And you see why it's so easy to make that mistake, though, because they are. You can see they're very similar. Life's better than it is. I'll tell you that. Next question. This is good. I love Q&A. Yes, sir. Tell me that.
Josh. Yeah, go ahead.
What is the key thing is maintaining the business?
Okay, maintaining the business. Okay,
Good question. Now listen up, guys,
because starting a business is totally different than maintaining it. Okay? Remember the SBA SCORE that I told you about? SCORE stands for Service Corps of Retired Executives. They're very good at helping you start your business. They're not that great at helping you maintain your business.
What's
That's not what they're designed to do. Huh?
What's it called?
SCORE. SCORE. It's an acronym. It's in every SBA office in every major city. SCORE. Maintaining the business. Okay, some of the things you gotta. The takeaway for the answer to the question is pay attention to your financials. Again, that cash flow projections. I can't emphasize that as much as I'd like to, or enough. So as a business owner, once you get up and running, because you have something called startup costs when you do your financials. Once you're past that, then you have to look at your cash flow. How much money is coming in on a monthly basis? How much money is going out on a monthly basis? How long do you think you're going to be in a negative versus a positive? And then you have something called a break-even analysis. Well, statistics will show most businesses fail within the first 3 to 5 years. Going back, not like a marriage, I'm kidding. Statistics will show that most businesses are either, now check this out, most businesses when they start off underfunded. They don't know it. They start off underfunded because they didn't do the cash flow projections. They didn't think, where do I need to be in month 2, month 3, year 2, year 3. So in maintaining your business. Now, this is where it gets hard, Joshua, because once you're maintaining a business, as the business owner, it's gonna take your time away from that which makes you money. So what kind of business did you say you wanted to have? Start up a gym, okay. So let's say you're passionate, you start up the gym, you really like being on the floor with your customers. You really like educating them on nutrition. You really like showing them which bench is the best for bench pressing or squats, the difference between machine weights versus free weights. That's what you like. You can do that all day long, but you can't because you got to go negotiate lease agreements. You got to go talk about health insurance if you have employees. You got to talk about recruiting talent for your employees. You got to talk about training. You got to talk about sales. How are you going to let people know about your gym? What's going to be different from your gym than somebody else's gym? Then you talk about tech support. Oh, the phone system doesn't work. Now my customers can't call me. Oh, email is down. Oh, what? The accounting system is down. I can't take financial transactions. Oh, half my staff didn't come in today. They called in sick. All these things happen. Administrative, human resources, strategic planning. How am I going to go from one gym to 3 gyms? That's going to take time away. So that's why you can't do it by yourself. So when it comes time, now if you're self-employed, you got to do all this. Okay? And then if you're self-employed, what you start doing is you start outsourcing. Now, outsourcing, you're just using when you need them, but your rates are going to be a lot higher. Outsourcing, virtual assistant runs about $40 an hour. I can hire somebody for $50 an hour. So those are all trade-offs. So maintaining the business, the number one takeaway would be if you have, do your financial plan, your financial cash flow projections, and put staffing in there. When you get the staffing, you got to try to hold on to them. So you got to make it, as appealing of a package as you can, because it's so much harder to get new people and train them than to retain your current staff. So the question was, what do you do to maintain your business? You got to do all this. So my takeaway would be hire the right people. And I'm gonna come back to you, Patrick. I saw your hand up, but let me spend just a few more minutes on this. What happened to me about 2 years ago, I had some investment come into my business. And I thought, hey, finally, thank God, it was wonderful. Y'all, I'm gonna tell you a guy over this. This was this redneck, older guy. I thought it was the meanest guy in the world. Our sons had been playing basketball together growing up. This man turned out to be one of the most nicest, kindest men that I've met. And he blessed me. The Lord blessed him. And not just for the financial thing, but he would come and pick up my son and take my son out basketball. And he was a great guy. He's still a great guy. So I had an investment in the business. But I had it. I'm done. I don't need anything else. I can build it from here. Still, going back to the learning curve. I used the money, so in order to get the investment, you had to put together what's called a use of proceeds. I'm at the family, this is at the family and friends level, not at the institutional investment. So show them the use of proceeds. And so I stuck to that. I bought some new equipment, did some marketing, that's what I should have, but I bought in a staff person. Here's a mistake that I made looking back in hindsight, okay? I hired a young person who had maybe 2 years of college. She was energetic, and she was good, started off great, but she needed a lot of training. She told me she may have had a little bit more skill set than what she actually had. So which means that the 1 month that I may have allocated for training turned into 6 months. So that took time away from sales. But what I did not take into account, something that I learned was that with her being young, and first, associate degree, she was really using this as a stepping stone to find something else. So after a year, she was done. And I was stuck again without an administrative assistant. So, and there's more to that as well, because I didn't have health benefits. I was just paying straight. I was paying above minimum wage, so I thought that was good. But what happens with small business, you need to remember this too, okay? What happens with small business, and I've seen this with other small business owners, is that as a small business owner, you wear a cap, you got a big X on your chest saying Superman. And you got this cap, and you can rotate it. Today I'm the janitor, today I'm the bookkeeper, today I'm the seller, today I'm the human resource manager. You got to do everything. So what happens with small business people is that we hire an admin assistant, and we think, hey, if I can do it, you can do it. Seriously. And so you start piling stuff on them and you're feeling good because you're offloading stuff from yourself, but you're piling this person down and they're getting bogged down and they're becoming more miserable and stressed and unhappy. And my mentor, because I was talking to my mentor about this over at SCORE, and SCORE has a division, a new division that's 2 years old, that's designed for existing business. So that's why I'm getting this one from him. So I was talking to him, this is the guy from the oil and gas pipeline. So I described this to him and he says, that wasn't her role. That wasn't her function. You know, so I had to sit back and think about that. And I've seen this with other business people, that they will offload everything from them. This person gets bogged down, they're unhappy, then they leave, and you're back in the same situation. Because you really, as a small business owner, you're doing the job of 3 or 4 people. And then you expect somebody else to do that? For the amount of little money that you're paying them? It's not worth it. So watch out for that mistake. You may so the way you avoid that is either get a couple of people and spread your work out, or if you get one person, be mindful, they cannot do everything that you can do. That position is, there's a difference in administrative assistant and executive assistant. And I didn't know that. I just saw the word assistant. The executive assistants cost a lot more, but they can do a lot more. Administrative assistants pay little, you can get secretaries out of secretary school. But their role has to be defined, you have to tell them what to do, it has to be mapped out. You're all over the board, you're doing everything. And you can't expect that person to do everything. That was a mistake that, I probably made that mistake twice. Back when I had Videosity too. She stayed with me for about two and a half years. And it was a good relationship. She did good, but she was really, I did also a lot. But I had staff 5. We're trying to put everything in one person. Patrick. I'm sorry, Patrick. Did I ask you a question, Josh?
Yeah, you did.
Okay. Patrick.
I was, when you were talking about outsourcing, I don't know how to read that. All right. We have a company within like a company, is it better to have another company to come within your company to, I guess?
You're confusing me. Let's try it again. A company within a company, that's what you lost.
Let's just say like, I own a restaurant.
Okay.
And in my company, in my restaurant, I have like a bar or something.
Okay.
So the company decides, hey, Patrick, I want to own your bar. I want to rent out your bar. I want to bring my product to your company. Would you have to pay them, or would you have to like, give them part of the revenue, give them part of the money?
You can structure deals any way you want to structure deals, okay? There is a approved methodology for doing deal structures, but then you're making a deal, so you want to get a win-win deal that's meaningful. So what I'm trying to say is, if everybody else has done it this way, it doesn't mean you always have to do it that way. It just means that this is the way everybody else has done it, so it's okay, but you can vary outside of that. So going back to your restaurant, most bars within a restaurant own, all that's one entity. I haven't heard, and I know it's just an example, of if a company came in and said, hey, let me operate your bar, which happens all the time, companies will come in and say, well, let me operate your fleet of cars for leasing car service. So I understand what you're saying. Yes, you could structure that deal where, okay, I'm going to give you a good example. Yes, you can structure that deal where they give you a cut of their revenue, okay? Because you have something they want. You have the space, you have the customers come in, so the deal would really be that you got to get a portion of their revenues plus rent. Okay? And I'm going to give you an example in my industry how it works. When you go to a hotel, and let's say GE went to this hotel, and they want to do a big event in the Omni Hotel for microphones and video conferencing and projectors. The hotel can either have an in-house AV company, like Marriott has a lot of in-house, and they own the AV company in the Marriott. The Hyatt and the Four Seasons, they outsource to third-party companies, like presentation services, JNS audio video, and those guys come to me for video conferencing. So that's how my chain works. So in that scenario, you know what? When GE pays presentation services, which is the company that the hotel is outsourced to for the audio visual for that hotel, GE pays them $50,000 for a week's event or a couple of days. The hotel gets half that. Now, the AV company is representing the hotel. The AV company has to have projectors and the microphones and provide video conference people. The hotel doesn't do anything. But because they let that AV company come into their hotel and provide the services, the contracts negotiated with the hotel gets 50%. That's why it costs so much when you go to a hotel to get audio visual from a hotel, because the prices are jacked up. Just so you know, if you do an event at the hotel, you can go outside of that venue and bring in a third-party audio visual company. That's less money than the hotel's approved in-house venue. Does that answer your question? You can research how the other deals have been structured, Patrick, and then you can structure your own deal. It's got to be agreed upon by both parties, and if the other party's smart, then they say, no, we can't do that. It doesn't hurt to ask. Yes, sir, you are...
Fred.
Come again?
Fred.
Fred, I don't know why I wrote it down. Go ahead on, Fred.
Fred,
Yeah. What about banking?
Okay.
When you're just starting out, would you want to, since it's a small business, would you want to combine what you're making into the account that you're like using, like your regular account that you actually put money in? Would you want to combine your revenue into that?
Absolutely not.
Or would you want to?
So let me make sure I understand the question. Are you asking me, if you have a small business, the money that you make, is that coming from a employment, or where's the money that you're making coming from?
Not employment. Yeah. Yeah, like investments.
Okay, in business, you can have many different accounts. There's certain businesses that have 5 different accounts. What you don't want to do, and I've made a mistake in doing it, is you don't want to combine your business account with your personal account. That creates all kind of accounting nightmares. Because then your bookkeeper or yourself has to go into separate all your receipts, and you run the risk of getting audited by the IRS. What you want to do is to have 2 separate accounts. When I do something on the business, I swipe 1 debit card. When I do something on the personal, I swipe another debit card. So all of my business transactions are downloaded into my FreshBooks system, and my bookkeeper can look at that and say, all of these are business. Now it gets tricky when you're a small business owner and you ain't got no money. And you're in a situation where you got to pay for something and you got no personal cash, you want to use the business. You can do that, but you got to write it off. You got to do the proper accounting later on. You can't forget 6 months. Was this business or was this personal? And then also with the vehicle, you know, it comes with how many miles you're supposed to keep mileage log, how many miles you drive in the business, how many miles you drive in the personal. So the takeaway is try to keep your business and personal separate. Now, a business can have multiple accounts. I have many accounts for my business. You can have a business that you pay your vendors from. Excuse me. You can have an account that you just pay vendors from. You have another account that you can invest in or you use for taxes at the end of the year. So you can have multiple business accounts. The main thing is to keep the business and personal separate as much as possible. Good, great questions, guys. More questions, please, because I want to be of assistance to you. Because going into business is not easy. It's not necessarily hard. It's just so much to do that you just can't keep up with. That's the hard part, is trying to keep up with everything that needs to happen, because some things are time sensitive. It's got to be done now. If you don't have the staffing, you're going to be running around like crazy. More questions, please. This is good. Yes, Rick.
So what happens if your business does fail? What are the actions and stuff you should take to bounce that business back in action?
Great question. A lot of businesses will fail. I've already gone through a failed business. One reason that the business, okay, let's talk about it. One of the main reasons that businesses fail is because they're not making enough money, right? So if you're not making enough money, that means you owe people money. That means you have debt. You can try to negotiate and work with those people. You know, some of those things will go to collections and they may settle for half the amount. But once you come to the point where you have to close it, now you can be closed. Your creditors can file for you to close your business. But if you make the decision, I can't do this anymore, I gotta go get a job, or I gotta go do something else, I gotta close the business. Some people just walk away. That means that, have you ever gone to a restaurant and you go to open the door, there's a sign saying, this business is no longer here, or they didn't pay their rent, the landlords, they just walked away. Have you ever called somebody, doo-doo, phone's not working, and they just walked away? What I'm trying to say is some people can intentionally close their business down. There was a lady down in Pearland named Desiree. She owned a coffee shop called Muddy Waters Coffee. We love Muddy Waters. We used to go there, she had jazz, I would do some work. Desiree said, I'm going to close down before I lose money. Before I lose money. So she made a conscious decision to close her business before she went into the negative. We hated it. She did well. We hated as customers because now we have a good coffee shop. And apparently this was before Starbucks. But she said, I'm sorry. I can't lose money. I'm going to close it before. That was a very wise choice. That was not my situation. My situation was I couldn't pay rent, I couldn't pay staff, I couldn't pay. So, you know, it's not like you have to go and let people know, oh, I'm closing. That's nice. But when they stop hearing from you, everything's going to go to collection, going to go to bankruptcy. Then the next thing you need to do is to get an attorney. And let the attorney take you to bankruptcy. There's two types of bankruptcy. There's actually more than two. The most popular is Chapter 7 and Chapter 11. Chapter 11 is a reorganization. But this is important. If you're going to try to maintain the business and you want to buy time, this is what General Motors does. This is what other companies do, is that they buy time and they reorganize, meaning that they cancel a lot of the debt or settle for less money than it's owed. And then they come out on the other side of the bankruptcy and they keep operating the business. The problem with that is that the creditors have a lot of control over you. The judge has a lot of control over you. It's not easy. They look at your personal assets. Now, I'm going to tell you this. Texas is a good business, it's a good state, it's a right-to-work state. But also, Texas is a state where the creditors cannot garnish your wages. In California, my uncle's a collection agent in California. He goes after movie stars. They can garnish wages in California. You owe money, they can take it out of your paycheck. You can't do that in Texas. So the attorney will help you navigate what's legal and what's not legal. So if you're going to close a business, I advise you get an attorney. Chapter 7, by the way, means that I am dissolving the business, I'm no longer doing this, you keep coming after me, does not exist anymore. Oh, this is important too. Let me tell you this about bankruptcy and about business. When you go to the SBA, get that SBA loan, no one told me this. I'm going to tell you this. Remember when I told you to get the protection by having a corporation to operate out of? Remember I said that at the beginning? What happens when you get an SBA loan is they have you do a personal guarantee. You cannot get an SBA loan without doing a personal guarantee. What a personal guarantee does is that it pierces the veil of protection. So now I'm personally liable for anything that my business does. So Frederick, what you got to be mindful of is that when you start doing personal guarantees, they can't come after you and affect your credit score. That's all they can do in Texas is affect your credit. Now, I'm sorry. And the judge, once these companies sue you, you will get a lien on your home. You can get liens put on your homes. Okay? So it's a little rough, but it's not as bad as California, by the way. So if you're going to close a business, get an attorney, get another job. If you want to rebuild and maintain your customers, start another business. Meaning, I had Videosity, I closed Videosity, I started Innovia. I kept servicing my customers out of Innovia while I worked a full-time job, while I went through bankruptcy. So, because I chose my marriage over the business, it's taking me a lot longer to rebuild. I wasn't back up and running in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. It's taken 5, 6, 7 years, but I still got my marriage. So, what I would advise is just to do it slowly, learn from the mistakes, and move on. How many of you have ever gone to, I'm just speaking, I'm being serious. I remember this one Chinese food restaurant off Buffalo Speedway that was Happy Sticks Chinese food one day. Next week it was, stir fry at a Chinese food restaurant. They just changed the name, kept on going. Racetrack, gas. How many of you have been to racetrack gas? It used to be called Raceway. Change the name, keep on going. but do it in the right way. Don't just try to not pay it, right? You know, do it in the right way. Next question.
This is my last question. All right, this is my last question. Do you consider this fraternity or any fraternity to be a business?
No, I consider this to be a ministry. That's how we started that ministry. And let's talk about that, because there's a difference in a ministry and a business. Those people that say, oh, and then there are business owners, this is important to say, I operate my business as a ministry. If they're at that level and they're comfortable with that, that's fine. We started this as a ministry to help brothers to be a Christian example in their communities, on college campuses. So therefore, it's run as a nonprofit. Patrick, that's kind of like saying, is the American Red Cross a business? No, it's a nonprofit. Is the American Cancer Society a business? No. Is the church a business? No. These are ministries. And I don't think running the church like a business is a good idea either. But let me stay on this for just a minute. When you run a nonprofit, your motives are different than running a for-profit business. There's nothing wrong with making a profit in a business, because you got to make a profit in order to pay your bills and pay your salaries and the payments. In a nonprofit, you're supported either internally or through donations, but your motives are different. We're trying to do good. We're trying to be a ministry. We're trying to help people. A business, if they do something that helps people, that's great, but their bottom line is not making money. Their bottom line should be doing something very well. And if they make money, that's great. If not, they don't need to be in business. I think it takes about 10 minutes. Okay, so give me about 13 minutes to say. Okay, so Patrick, no, it's not a business, it's a ministry. There's a totally different mindset in running it. Now, being a nonprofit doesn't mean that you don't make a profit. We want to operate in the black. We want to operate with more money's coming in than money's going out. That's not the way you operate in operation. So, our purpose in this fraternity is not to make money. Our purpose is to bless business and to be a blessing. And families and children. So. Next question, I got 2.5 minutes now. Come on, we got time for one more. Okay, I'm down to 1 minute, 35 seconds. Okay. Well, with that being said, if there are no more questions, let me have your attention for just a moment, because you brothers are very dear to me. You brothers are very dear to me. And one of the things out of UniPhied, we want you to get that Christian foundation. And whatever God leads you to do. We have a lot of brothers that go into ministry. We have a lot of brothers that go into engineering. We have a lot of brothers that go into all walks, like, doctors, lawyers, entertainers, rappers. We got some brothers who are, business owners. Whatever God leads you to do, do it well, and do it as you do it before Him. Have integrity. Do it with honesty. Do it with charity. Don't walk over people. Don't think that it's either, that go for win-win situations instead of win-lose situations. Let your light shine on the job. Even when I was employed, there were times, whether they may want you to fabricate some information, or they may want you to do something unethical. You don't have to do that kind of stuff. The job or your business is not more important than your integrity. Your integrity will shine. I have customers that do business, that have been doing business with me for 9 years, 10 years plus, even from the old company. Because one, we do a good job, but then two, they know that I'm going to do I'm going to deliver more than what the expectation. So that's the takeaway on that. Whatever you do, let God use you, let your light shine. Keep your family first. And God bless you.
All right, so our time this afternoon is wrapping up. We have about an hour, and we're gonna meet over at this restaurant called Mandola's Cafe. It's off of Cullen Street, it's just north of here, and we're gonna have a family dinner. Sit down, grab a bite. It's Italian and seafood, so you get a little mix of Italian and some Houston cooking. So look forward to it. We'll have a topic that we'll discuss as a family and have some great fellowship. Mandola's Deli. Jacoby, you have the address for that? Jacoby's gonna give us the address. We'll get it all out to you guys, and we'll see you in about hour and 15 minutes. You can wear the same, just wear the same thing you get on. Yeah, 6 o'clock.
Yeah.